My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
The last time I played Castlevania Lords of Shadow was when I was a kid, and I have incredibly fond memories of just a non-stop crazy fantasy adventure. But after replaying it, that is far from what I experienced, and in this episode we're going to talk about exactly why. If you want to skip to a specific section of the video, there are timecodes on screen now and also in the description. That being said guys, spoiler warning from this point onwards. Alright, let's get into it. Our story begins with our hero Gabriel Belmont. Gabe has been sent to locate the means to stop the evil that ravages these lands. The world has been cut off from God and evil runs rampant, killing many, including Gabe's wife. Oh my god mate, ring the alarm, dead wife alert! So not knowing what to do, Gabe meets up with another member from the Brotherhood of Light called Zobek. So he says, alright mate, so the only way to end the darkness that engulfs this land is to defeat the three Lords of Shadow and combine the pieces of the God Mask. And also, this will bring back your dead wife, mate. I'm sold, mate. Who's the first dickhead I have to whip? Werewolf King? I'm on it! So, we travel deep into the heart of werewolf territory and we make our way to the king himself. He then attempts to kill us with this game's ultimate weapon, Exposition. Shut up, I'm gonna kill you!
I am immortal, little man.
Yeah, immortal my ass! Oh, Jesus. So we kill him dead and we receive the first piece of the God Mask. So the next on our hit list is the Queen of the Vampires, and she's held up in this mega castle and we have to find our way in. We go through the sewers, the kitchen, the giant chest room that all castles have, and deep inside we find out that the Queen is imprisoned none other than Victor von Frankenstein. And he's been forced to do some sick experiments, like making this spider mecha piloted by a fetus? Oh god. Moving on. After killing every single one of her subjects, the Queen out of desperation tries to seduce us, but that doesn't work on me because I'm such a good boy. As punishment, I stake that Thotiana onto a building. This understandably kills her dead, and we gain the second piece of the God Mask, and we come one step closer to dead wife. Right, so last on the list of cocker shadows we have to kill is Death himself.
Woogie, woogie, woogie.
Right, so our next destination is the Land of the Dead, but we can't get there on our own, so we have to go and see this bog skank Baba. Oh, so it turns out she won't help us unless we go inside this music box to get her a rose. Fuck, okay, so I'll go in. Yep, alright, yeah, look, I've got your rose, bitch, now make me a corpse. So she finally transports us to the Land of the Dead and we get to confront Death himself, who transforms into a giant bone dragon. Right, so we rodeo that bitch and rip its throat out, yeah, defeating Death and receiving the final piece of the God Mask. Then Zobek shows up out of nowhere and says, oh yeah, congrats mate, but actually, I've been manipulating you the whole time.
What?
Yeah, I'm actually the true Lord of Death and I may have also made you kill your own wife. It's all banter. I'll be taking that mask now. That's a lot to take in, but then 2 seconds later, fucking Satan, fucking Satan, comes in and says, fuck you, Zobek, I was actually manipulating you the whole time, and then he just one-shots him, taking the mask for himself, whereas I'm just sat here like, what a twist! So Gabe has to use his good boy powers to put an end to Satan to stop him taking over the world. We defeat Satan and we finally get to resurrect Dead Wife. Oh, turns out you can't really resurrect her. Well, tough shit. The end. Ooh, before we go, Gabe is now Dracula, and it's also the modern day. Wrap your head around that. The fucking devs didn't. So one of the main issues I have with this game's story is with its characters. The game goes to great lengths to have characters have these really badass moments. This mute girl, for example, that we meet, has an incredibly interesting introduction and it creates a lot of intrigue, and then she opens her mouth.
You can find crystal shards scattered all over the place.
Oh god, shut your yap. See, the main problem is these characters only ever open their mouths to just spout exposition.
I have traveled here seeking regarding.
Shut up! Shut up!
They just have no personality whatsoever. They just spout things that have happened to them instead of the game actually showing us or letting us experience these moments. This game doesn't have the confidence to waste the player's time with these details, but it does have the time to make us sit through 2 hours plus of the runtime listening to characters and Patrick fucking Stewart tell us things rather than letting us experience them. What the fuck? And unfortunately, it's not just in the story where this game wastes the player's time. So, even though this game is packed with scenes like this, it is always without fail followed by gameplay like this. Oh my god, this was the most frustrating part of the game for me, and it's all because this game had so much potential. Just look at this. This game is absolutely stunning and has so many cool set pieces, but in each one of these amazing areas, you spend 3/4 of the time just slowly climbing, slowly opening doors, refilling your energy meters.
What the fuck?
Carrying objects, silently meandering from one area to the next, introducing bosses. Oh, fuck off! Just stop! Don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with quiet downtime. This game would be so intense if it was just non-stop action. Downtime is needed, but not this much downtime. It just feels bloated. This just has such a negative impact on the entire feel of the game for me. I don't understand why developers are so obsessed with game length. Length does not equal quality or fun. Padding your game out with menial tasks just makes me wish I was playing something else. This obsession with length also has a negative impact on my perception of the actual design of the enemies. There is a huge amount of enemy variety in this game, and each area having its own thematic enemies to fight with their own thematic mechanics. This is amazing, but because you linger for so long in each area, it makes the enemies feel really repetitive and recycled. While we're talking about developer obsessions, what is the obsession with doing boss fights in 3 phases? This can be used to introduce the player to multiple mechanics throughout a boss fight and then test you on said mechanics in the 3rd phase, but a lot of bosses in this game just repeat the same gameplay mechanics and animations just 3 times, which is so tiring and it makes it so obvious that each boss phase is just a repeat of the first one. Ori and the Blind Forest 1 and 2 are great studies in how to do boss fights and have them feel organic and real, but that's going to be in a future episode. My main problem with these developer obsessions is that we spend so much time doing boss phases and meandering through the levels that we don't actually have the time to fully appreciate the game's actual fun and engaging elements, but they are still here. So you might be thinking from watching the gameplay in the back that this might be a bit of a God of War clone, and yeah, you'd be right. Wait, you know, you have hack and slash gameplay, a soft RPG leveling system, and cinematic QuickTime events. But it's not just a clone, it is better than that. When this game is doing its own thing, it is honestly outstanding. The way they balance the mythos of the creatures you're fighting with the gameplay mechanics is just so fun. Like pulling down the curtains in the castle to let the sunlight in to ward off the hordes of vampires. Fuck yeah! Also, in moment-to-moment gameplay, they give the player an immense amount of choice for how they want to play. This is mainly done through the power-up system. Gr8 has access to a light and a dark power-up system during gameplay. Light is used for healing yourself, and dark is used for extra damage. You then have to balance which meter to use and when to get the most out of each combat situation. This choice in gameplay is also extended to the items, as there are throwing daggers, holy water grenades, fairies, and summonable demon crystals. Jesus fucking Christ, these can all be used in combat, and not only that, items completely change how they work based on what stance you're in, light or dark. This just gives the player so much choice, fuck me. And this is the exact reason why this game is so frustrating for me, because what I've just mentioned is only 50% of the gameplay. The rest of the time the game is just trying to copy other successful games like God of War or Shadow of the Colossus, and when it tries to emulate the scale and gameplay of these games, it just bloats the length and actually contradicts previous gameplay mechanics that you've been taught, which can lead to so much confusion. To talk about this specifically, I'm going to have to introduce you to some game design terminology. So something a lot of my subscribers won't know about me is that I'm actually a qualified game designer. I decided to avoid the industry for many different reasons, but I do have the knowledge, and I want to share some of that alleged know-how with you. Some of the most frustrating design elements of this game are also quite common in other games, and I hope after we've spoken about this concept, you can keep an eye out and see if you can spot them in other games you play in the future. But first, I'm going to have to introduce you to the concept. The first game design principle I'm going to be talking about is Signifiers. Coined by Don Norman in his smashing book, The Design of Everyday Things. Wait, don't read it, it's actually really dry. Just listen to me, I got you. Signifiers are how knowledge is conveyed to the user. All information in any product, not just games, should be conveyed as instantly and efficiently as possible. In regards to game design, this could be how the game tells you to perform a certain action in game, like how to jump or where to go. These can be explained through many different ways, through a cutscene, a user interface element, or a voiceover. The game designer's main goal should be to signify how to do this without breaking player immersion. Right, now that I've actually told you what signifiers are, I can finally tell you why this game is so fucking shit at doing them. So, this switch on the floor, this fucking switch on the floor was the bane of my life, mate. So, the game shows us a UI element that signifies that I need to punch the switch. That's already odd, because at no point in the game have we ever had to do this, and we're 8 hours into the game. So the player isn't going to know how to do this. What? Fuck it. So the only logical thing to do is to test out all the abilities I know that attack the floor. Cue me doing this for the next 10 fucking minutes. Trying every attack combo I know. I did this for so long that I had to just admit defeat and look it up. I'm stupid! So this guy tells me that I have to use this attack. What? The attack that goes off at an angle and is incredibly hard to aim, and I have to aim it perfectly. What? 9 times out of 10 I would miss this attack, which made my fucking piss boil, mate. And then, when fighting the fetus boss fight, you have to hit the switches mid-combat, and if you don't hit them in the first couple tries, the fetus boss gains all of its health back. Yeah, boy. Ugh. And to add salt to this wound, after completing the game and I started to play the DLC, I accidentally hit the wrong button combo, and Gabriel did this. He just punched the floor directly. What the actual fuck? Why didn't the guide tell me that this was possible? And most importantly, why didn't the fucking game tell me? You already used an immersion breaking UI text element that pops up on the screen. Why didn't you just add this? Are you fucking dense? I really don't get why this is such a common thing that we see in the design of Metroidvania games. Actually, on the topic of Metroidvanias, you might have heard the term Metroidvania being thrown around before, used to describe a certain genre of game. This term was coined thanks to Castlevania Symphony of the Night for its combination of Metroid-like gameplay mechanics and the Castlevania formula. Common mechanics you can see in this genre can be backtracking to previously inaccessible areas, and progressive ability and item systems to facilitate that progression. Thanks to games like Symphony of the Night, Metroid and Castlevania have both become synonymous with these mechanics, and it's what most players are expecting when they pick up a title in this series. So it's easy to expect that a new title in the Castlevania series would do this genre justice. Fuck you. This game does have inaccessible power-ups and items hidden throughout the game, ones that you have to come back and get once you've gained a new ability, such as the double jump. This is a Metroidvania staple, but this game goes out of its fucking way to make backtracking as unappealing as humanly possible. The first problem is that the game is level based, so travelling back to said levels is easy, but it's frustrating because you have to start at the beginning of that level, and if you remember, most of these levels just consist of slowly walking around or opening doors. Oh fuck! And you have to go through all of this tedious shit to hopefully gain a power up. Yes, hopefully, because this game has lore scrolls. This symbol was the herald of disappointment for me. These scrolls were very insightful and entertaining to read, don't get me wrong, but the main problem is that they're hidden in the exact same corpses as the power-ups they're hidden in, meaning I could do a platforming challenge for 5 minutes, leading me further away from my end goal, and instead of an upgrade to my health or magic meters, it's just some fuckboy's diary on why a bug skank kicked him in the balls in 1864.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Fuck me, I thought the Riddler trophies in Batman were bad. And this is where all of the disappointment begins. 90% of all of the hidden secrets in the first few levels are all lore scrolls. This meant by the time I got to the 4th level, I was so unmotivated to explore because it was just so unrewarding. And even if I did start backtracking once I gained new abilities to maybe open a breakable wall, I would get one fragment of a gem that when completed would increase my magic meters by this much.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
Are you telling me that I have to go through the arduous task of meandering through previous levels to at most gain 1 more second of power-up time? Absolutely fucking pathetic, mate. Why should I bother? And for me, this is just the rancid cherry on top of the shit cake, because the game didn't just fail to copy another successful game series like God of War, but it also failed to imitate its own successful subgenre. So, after all of this guys, what is my final verdict for Castlevania Lords of Shadow overall? This is a really difficult one for me. I adore the mythos and style of Castlevania so much, with so many interesting and creative gameplay mechanics, but this game was so eager to please so many different types of players that it just fell short in each category. For me, this game is a hate, but a really reluctant one. I was just disappointed more than frustrated at what potential this game had. Luckily, there is a sequel, so I hope that the developers took what faults this game had and crafted and refined a really polished sequel. But I guess we'll find out in a future episode. Thank you so much for watching, mate. It means the world to me. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, why not subscribe to not miss out on the next episode? If you want to see more of this game and hear all the little things I found out that I didn't have a chance to put in the script, you can check out my new series on Twitch called Cutting Room Floor. I stream every Tuesday at 7 PM GMT at twitch.tv/itsjermaine. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for the support, mate. I'll see you in the next one.